Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. Two primary concerns regarding deploying a thermal analytics solution, usually the cost associated with that solution, and the real possibility that the technology may not be necessary in a few years. They're valid concerns. However, if you ask yourself this, the costs were manageable, and the solution was way more than just thermal analytics. Would that influence your decision? This afternoon, we've assembled a team of experts that will discuss how you can leverage the IBM Cloud and pdActive AI-enabled deep learning cameras to improve operational intelligence and comply with ongoing regulations around COVID-19. We are going to have Q&A, which will be available throughout the presentation. Please use the Q&A function within your Zoom app, and all the questions will be addressed today in a timely fashion. We're also going to host a poll toward the end of the Q&A. We really appreciate it if you participated. Our panel today is comprised of Vincent Gargione, Managing Partner at CG Moneta, Tom Mitchell, VP of Sales and Marketing at Flagship Solutions Group, and Charlie Fleischman, COO and co-founder of pdActive. Charlie has 21 years of commercial management experience with a specialized background in big data software, analytics, assessment, and strategic planning in both commercial technology and government intelligence fields. My name is Dan Cobell. I'm Managing Partner at CG Moneta, LLC. You turn the slide, please. CG Moneta, LLC, one of today's sponsors, is a B2B cost reduction firm that's built on three core service pillars: specialized tax incentive studies, corporate cost reduction audits, and telecom, cloud, and IT services. Our telecom division is carrier neutral and aligned with Sandler Partners, America's fastest growing distributor of connectivity, cloud, voice, security, and network optimization. Our first speaker this afternoon is Tom Mitchell. Tom is VP of Sales and Marketing at Flagship Solutions Group. And Tom, the floor is all yours.
All right. Hey, thanks, Dan. I appreciate that. I don't have quite the extensive resume that Charlie does, but Charlie's going to steal the show here in just a minute. I just wanted to share what our role is in Flagship Solutions Group and a little bit about us, and then our role in this really fancy solution that we're doing around analytics. So Flagship Solutions, we're actually headquartered out of Boca Raton, Florida, down in where the heat is, and half of the north is down here with us now as well. But we do the managed services around infrastructure deployment. So whether those infrastructures are on-premise, which we handle a lot of customers that are on-prem, as well as applications that are running in the cloud. So that infrastructure that those applications run on require management and monitoring at all times, whether they reach thresholds, storage thresholds, processing thresholds. We monitor and manage those. We patch them, PTFs and patches and all of that stuff that most people just want to get done and have it done to run their operation. So that's kind of what we do. Next slide. This is a chart. I'm not going to go into real detail here, but we help our customers we've always been remote. Remote is a very important thing today with our current conditions that we're in around COVID. Everybody's remote. We were born remote. Our personnel is remote. Our network operations center is remote. We handle our customers remotely. We do go on site and go into data centers and so forth, but the spectrum of services that we offer can be small task all the way to completely take it off your hands and help you with those tasks. The purpose and our role in this solution that you're about to hear from Charlie with is Flagship actually will deploy and manage the infrastructure in the cloud. So all this is cloud delivered. We manage and monitor that and deploy it, and then we work very closely with Charlie over at pdActive to make sure everything is up and running. So that's where that application resides. Next chart. So a little bit about IBM Cloud. First of all, Flagship, we are an IBM business partner. That's if you see in the bottom right hand of the screen. We sell everything IBM. We sell hardware of IBM. We sell software of IBM. We sell cloud of IBM. In this case, we're running everything on the cloud, so we're providing that platform. And why did we choose IBM? Because IBM is really the best in the business as far as data center is concerned. So they're worldwide, around the globe, very robust. I think IBM is a household name, and we have had countless awards over the last decade of deploying IBM solutions. So IBM is where we put our money and our investment, and that's the solution that we believe that we need to bring to the customers. So as you're hearing about this solution that Charlie's about to take us through, think of that running in an IBM hardened, redundant, resilient cloud. So there's no lay awake at night worried about whether that infrastructure is up and running when you can count on IBM to do so. And then, of course, Flagship to manage that solution. So next slide. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Charlie, and he's going to take us through the real meat of the solution that we're talking about today that Dan has referenced. Charlie, it's all yours.
Thank you, Tom. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day. pdActive is an artificial intelligence company with all US based. We have our own AI team with multiple 20 years worth of experience that have been working together as a team. And all our code is all our own code, all proprietary. We don't use open source code. We've built our own algorithms, and we have the AI team that keep it running. We will talk about some different things as we go through the brief. We'll talk mainly about facial recognition, which is our forte, but we also do demographics. We do thermal now for the COVID, being able to detect masks, and we do activity and access control as well. So as we go through the brief, we're going to go through all these various things that you see on this slide. I would ask that if you would like to ask questions, please put them in the question box. Trish will go ahead and interrupt me at the time so you get an answer right at that time. We'll try to keep it moving. That way you won't forget your question by the time we get to the end of the brief. As I mentioned, pdActive's main focus is facial recognition. What makes us different than all 130 facial recognition companies out there are we have our own homegrown algorithms. They all are AI-based. They're not based on templates. And where most facial recognitions need a large frontal picture to get a good match, our algorithms have been focused to be able to go in the wild and be able to pick somebody up with a tiny frontal face or a large angle face. As you can see from the demonstration on the right, the primary image is what we're searching on, but we were able to identify her with a lot of different hats, not hats, looking down, looking left, and even partial face. And that we do along with our accuracy of 99.99% with the people not looking at the camera, just walking by it. People have asked, well, how has COVID affected you? Well, COVID did affect the system a little bit. So you can see at the top with our old version, which we just replaced, was pre-COVID where we had the face, but even during COVID, we still had 100% match rate. Because we would see a lot of people for the first time with just a mask, we came up with another solution where we detected and determined that somebody was wearing a mask. Then we put the algorithm, the picture through a different algorithm on the periocular region, and we are right back up to our 99.99% match rate with masks. Our architecture, we have two versions that we start. We like to use our own AI cameras or thermal tablets. That's because we have an AI chip in the camera that's in firmware where we're able to put our face detector, tracker, and initial analytics at the camera. This minimizes the amount of hardware that needs to be put into the location. So it's a camera and a network connection device. And then you're up and running in the IBM Cloud. So there's no vulnerability. It's an encrypted pipe from the camera to the cloud, and it's encrypted at rest. So we keep very conscious of cybersecurity. But for those that have existing cameras and they're in a place that they really want to use them, we can also put in an edge device that does the same effect that our cameras do. As we are cloud-based, we have an unlimited scale. The system is fully parallelized, so we can ramp up new machines. We could easily do the whole United States as in one system without breathing hard. We also have a second algorithm piece that we work in the big data engine from all of my past experiences that we've done to that, that's improved our match rates. And then we have our image pipeline that does the deep learning that is isolated in behind its own firewall within the IBM Cloud. But we also want to give a good user experience. So we have both a web and Android and iOS applications that allow us to have a two-way interface with the user. They can enroll people, they can see that people come in, and once they have an alert on the system, this is in the case of a retail experience where they have a shoplifter, they are able to provide feedback on what they did. Did they escort them out of the store? Did they call the police? Did they do something else? So there's a feedback loop. And in that feedback loop is one for a bad match. So if we do get a bad match, we ask that the user puts that in, and we use that to improve our algorithms as we continue to go forward. So from recognition, let's talk about a few other things that we do with AI. So we've taken our very good facial recognition and we put each camera down to a zone. So we can actually control down for alerts or access control or anything at the camera, individual camera level. But that also allows us to track an individual between cameras. So we can show operational paths, we can show traffic paths. We can show the visit rate for an individual across them once they're registered. And all of this can be done across multiple lists. So all with the same system, we can track VIPs, we can track employers, we can track vendors, we can track the shoplifter, and we can also do thermal and mask compliance for operations as well, all within the same system across that gamut. As I mentioned, is we can track somebody through a store from camera to camera. We can also do that across locations. So if you have locations on both coasts, you have an employee that walks into the coast in California, they fly to New York, they're going to show up in the same thing with the same alert, with the same access control. And we push all this access control and all the ability to control this all the way down to the customer level. It's a very, very easy system to install and to manage. Our alert deliveries can be multiple ways. We can do it to an existing monitor. We can push it out to an Android and an iOS device, but we can also push it to an email. So depending on the alert, whether it be a red list alert for bad guys or whether it be an access control or a mask compliance or a thermal compliance alerts, those can all be directed to the individuals on the various apps or within the web app. Along with the ability to match the faces, our ability to have a very accurate occupancy count by providing a entrance and exit cameras or combination of entrance and exit cameras throughout or multiple cameras throughout the store. We can track the length of time an individual was in the location and how many people are in there. And this is a real-time graph that goes operationally, but we also provide out static demographics as well for traffic, age, gender, and ethnicity. For COVID, we've provided a thermal camera and a thermal tablet that allows us to do both the facial recognition and the temperature checking as long as max compliance. And again, we can push out the individual warnings to the app, both an alert and a warning for occupancy and whether they're wearing a mask. And that can be both whether they're wearing a mask or whether they're wearing a mask properly. Because down on the chin doesn't do anybody any good. This real-time ability to go between individual cameras allows us to do contract tracing. So if there's an event in this venue here, we know the time period that they were there and everybody that was in contact during that process. But also, like I mentioned before, from an access control or an alert process, can allow us to tell that this individual is under 21 and they shouldn't be in the gaming area as well. So again, multifunction. Although we've done additional things for COVID, we want to make sure that the system is very useful to you when the pandemic finally goes away. So turning to thermal, again, two solutions. This is our new thermal camera. It is mounted about 8 feet off the floor, directed at the path. It can do the thermal and the facial recognition out to 15 feet with a plus or minus 2 degrees temperature variant. It can do multiple people at a time. What makes it different than the other providers is you don't have to stop. You can watch people come in at speed as they're coming through the entranceway. And you can send an alert to a monitor or to the other alerts as I mentioned. So we'll look at a real-time demonstration of this in a minute. The ability of this allows us to have low friction for people coming to work. They can walk through, it'll check the mask, it'll check the temperature, and they don't have to stop as they're coming in through their entranceway. So here's a demonstration of this. The picture on the bottom, this is where it's going to a local monitor. The picture on the bottom is the last alert. This system was in centigrade, so you can see the guy in the black shirt hit at 37.5. In centigrade, the alert is 37.0, which equates to 100.4 degrees Fahrenheit, which is what's recommended by the CDC. As I run the video, if you look at the top of the screen, you're going to see the lady in the red jacket and the lady in the in the yellow jacket and the lady in the red jacket come forward. You'll hear the alert, then you'll hear the guard that's monitoring this identify her to pull her aside. We can use this in various scenarios, both with and out of with and without a black body. You can see the black body that's in the picture up here to the left in the IR picture. Yeah, that's why I said. Here's the alert.
The gal in the red shirt.
And now you see that she comes in onto the monitor as an alert so that they know the last one. We also have a temperature tablet, and this will show a lady coming up. And if you listen carefully, this has the audio on to hear the temperature, and then we'll see another view as she's coming towards it.
Normal temperature detected.
So this is what most of the other vendors put out there. What we've gone to the next step that was done after this video was shot is we actually wanted to do another step with privacy. So we've replaced the normal temperature and we can turn the audio on and off. That's a preference to be able to say it. But we've replaced the actual temperature strip with a red or a blue bar. And in the future version, that will show normal or abnormal temperature. And that allows us to contain the privacy in case somebody's worried about HIPAA violation. And we've transferred that into the web app as well, so the temperature and the mask compliance only come up as a red or a green dot. We will have an ability to track the underlying temperatures that can be done by somebody that has enough access. But otherwise, for most users, they'll only see the red dots. So through our entire process, we try to keep privacy and security at the top of the most important things. And every image that goes into the system only has a date, a time, a camera identification, and a unique number. There are no names, there are no individual personal identifiable information matched with any of the individuals until it's entered into a separate database that's controlled by the customer. And in this case, they've just enrolled them with their first name. This same process, along with an app we call Active Access, allows us to do contactless check-in. So you can register via the app. The company can send out a barcode for everybody to scan. It'll let them download their exact version of the app for that company. They can self-enroll, put in their information automatically, and then when they walk in front of the kiosk, it's going to recognize them and register the face. And that can be done for not only COVID, but any type of access application. But In addition to facial recognition and thermal, we also do what we call activity analytics. So this is using video and being able to predict things through video or to confirm things through video through AI by having a human to do it. So the first example I'm going to show you is a hand washing app. This is for restaurants, for hospitals, nursing schools, things like that, to confirm that people are washing their hands correctly. So you'll see up the representation that the statistics on what's being done right, what's being done wrong, and then we would have just a simple pass or fail for them as well. But this can be done for any type of motion analytics. So the next step we're going to look at is for a loss prevention, where we're going to look to see, is somebody stealing or are they shopping? And this is a real event. The lady's coming down and you can see, looks first like she's shopping, but now she's obviously stealing. Now an alert can be sent either to a remote monitoring center to call down to her through a remote voice activation, or it can be used forensically to enroll the person for the next time they walk into the store and they would be stopped as a shoplifter. Our system is so efficient. When a camera is placed at the front door, by the time somebody has taken about 3 steps through the door, the manager or the appropriate person in the location already has an alert on their cell phone that they have somebody in the store that should not, that's been banned and shouldn't be allowed in the store. And she's pretty proficient, but she did get caught. This is another version of that. This is where we're doing identification of items that are gone, as well as multiple items that are taken. So in this instance, this person only took 1 item, but if they did a shelf sweep, multiple items would be shown. And we can also connect this to an inventory system to show what items are missing off the shelf. It can be used for inventory, it can be used for planogram compliance, for vendors so that they know that the store is placing their product in the right place, and can add to the benefit of being able to charge more for the shelf space because you can prove the traffic through there, you can prove who comes through, both through age, gender, and ethnicity, so it can give you a lot more information for marketing, along with that real-time tracking of managing people coming through the location. With that, we've kept it to about 25 minutes. We want to go ahead and leave plenty of time for questions and answers.
Hey, Charlie, just while we're waiting for some questions and answers, I'm just going to launch the poll for everybody. If our attendees would like to participate, the poll is now available, as is the Q&A and the chat feature, if you have any questions. I do have a question here real quick, Charlie.
Right.
So Kevin would like to know, can your solutions be applied to sports and entertainment venues? That's a great question.
Yes, what I showed you was sort of the corporate world and the retail world, but the same thing applies to sports. The facial recognition can be done anywhere in the facility. Obviously, if you're going to do the thermal, you need to be within some type of a protected environment. We are doing a pilot with a stadium where we're providing the cameras have to be at least covered for the thermal. They can't be out, obviously, in the bright sunlight. But yes, it can be for all of those venues. You could use it for an entertainment. You could put the app, it can be done as an SDK, so you could put it into the existing app. Say you want to register people for a concert. They could register through the app, and then you validate their ticket as they come through the turnstile into the event.
Yep, and this is Tom again. We're in several stadiums. We've done a lot of quite a bit of infrastructure in some of the stadiums. One of them being one of the latest stadiums down in the Atlanta area, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and we're looking at video analytics in that stadium for all the several of the things that Charlie's mentioned there. So a lot of the stadiums, especially the ones that are being built, are starting to take interest in automation of some of the things, traffic flow, foot traffic, with COVID, the thermal, those kinds of things.
So again, the cameras where they are, whether the existing cameras or cameras, are collecting the faces. They don't collect any, in fact, they collect less data than your existing video surveillance cameras. That's all pushed, just the faces are stored into the cloud. Again, the PII is added by the individual customers for that. And so it can be used in any type of locations. We've even done some mobile locations as well, where we're deploying it out to sporting events where they're going from event to event.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. It looks like people are wrapping up the voting, so I don't know if you want to, we can keep the polls open, but if you want to just continue on and wrap things up, I think that would be perfect.
All right, since, Trish, thank you very much. Since there's really no other questions out there, on behalf of myself, Dan, Tom, and Charlie, we really want to take the time and, thank you for tuning in today. And hopefully you'll learn a little bit more information about what we have going on in this crazy world right now. I did want to remind everybody that you guys will receive an email copy of this presentation, hopefully by the end of business today, if not at the latest tomorrow. Any questions or concerns, you can see on our slide here, we have our contact information. Myself, Dan, Tom, or Charlie would be happy to answer any questions you may have, any concerns or issues you may have. Again, our contact information is there. Reach out to us with any questions, and we'll be in touch soon.
Thank you, Vin.
Have a great day, guys.
Thank you. Thank you for participating.
Thank you, Charlie.